Hello everyone. The other day I was reading a book and was honestly kind of put off by its writing. Aside from the scene, it was the characters, and you probably know which book I'm talking about. Powerless. Before I begin, I just want to say that I read this book last summer, and I think it's actually over a year ago, like earlier last summer, and I recently came back to it. And I still feel the same way about it. So let me start by saying Paedyn, or Paedyn, however you pronounce it, isn't a bad character herself. There are also actually a lot of books that do the same thing, where the characters are kind of shallow and they just have basically the same personality and no real depth to them. I think like the major problem was how the author tried to show us that she was different from the other characters rather than the problem being that she's different, because a lot of characters, the main character is usually unique or different from the other characters, which is why they're the main character. It's more the way she's presented to us as different than her actually being different, if that makes sense. In order to show that better, I'm going to read off a bunch of quotes that I took from the book. Reminder of how easy it would be for any of these elites to end my ordinary life. I would just become another dead ordinary who doesn't deserve a name, a title, a memory. I'm going to pass out. What if I don't wake up? What if I die because I wasn't strong enough? Because I'm a weak ordinary? I hate feeling so helpless, so powerless, so ordinary. I stand before him as an ordinary, one he would have killed if only he knew the truth. You get the idea. I don't think there's anything wrong, again, with making her different, but she calls herself ordinary and weak so many times. I'm also going to compare her to some other books where the main character is different from others. It just doesn't come off the same way. In Little Woman, Jo is different from basically all the other girls at her time, and she's not too different, but she doesn't really have the same mindset or values as most other girls would probably have at her time. And one of the quotes would be, I can't get over my disappointment in not being a boy. She just doesn't spend all of her energy on being different, and she just is, which also just makes it seem a lot more natural to read because it's kind of just baked into who she is, and it's not stressed so much, and it's not something that we really need to bring a lot of attention to, because then it just becomes her whole personality is being different. And while being different can be a major part of like the plot, you don't need to tell us so many times where it becomes the plot and it just becomes who they are, and it takes away from the rest of them and the rest of the story, because that just becomes the entire thing. Yeah, I think that's all I really have to say about this. I don't think it's a bad thing that characters should be different, or like people don't have to fit in with the standards of whatever society or world the book is set in. But I also think you need to write it in a way that it doesn't become the whole point, and it actually show us the conflicts it creates rather than just tell us about how difficult it makes their lives. I want to see it make their lives difficult rather than hear them say over and over again, I'm so ordinary, I'm so weak. Like, I get the idea, but if you actually showed me, that would make the book a lot more interesting and actually give us that character trait without having to just say, oh, she's ordinary. We can see that if there are scenes where her ordinary like makes her stand out from others without her saying that she's different from others constantly. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. I hope you found something of this useful, and if you have anything to add, please comment down below, because I'm interested in seeing other perspectives maybe, or if you agree. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time.